The whole reason I've been openly documenting my journey and discoveries the way I have is to actually show the world who the true criminals are. Those set on total destruction and devastation to our way of life, to our Constitution, especially the ones in positions of power and authority that rule on their feelings instead of ruling equivocally and by established law. Those susceptible to influence, and of course the immoral and unethical influencers themselves that have used their power, money, and other means to absolutely destroy lives for their own personal gain. The ones who destroyed my life for their own personal gain. To show how low these low-life thugs hit, which is far lower than I even imagined when I tossed care and any inkling of fear to the side and said enough is enough. Hitting low is one thing, but hitting below the belt to a flagrant abuse of an unbelievably tainted legal and judicial system and steadily using that as a weapon of choice is a full-blown declaration of war on American soil, by the very definition of a domestic enemy. This is exactly what our founding fathers warned us about and had the knowledge to foresee in the future. That is why they crafted the Constitution the way they did. And that is why everything is laid out the way it is in the Declaration of Independence that preceded our Constitution. I believe the preamble says it best in saying that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I 100% declare this to be a constitutional crisis and an ethical atrocity. I have demonstrated and produced non-stop evidence supporting just that, the entire time. Beyond all doubt, this area has casted the largest cast net of lies I've ever imagined. It has fallen gullible to extremely corrupt judges, appointed and elected officials, law enforcement agencies both state, county, and federal, the liberal news media completely ignoring all evidence and proof of wrongdoing, and so have a majority of the citizens in this area. It's like every single attorney has fallen asleep at the wheel, and everybody as a whole turned completely robotic, as if they were brainwashed, as if they were being controlled, manipulated. Meanwhile, I've stayed constant, not breaking any laws, in fact quoting the laws, which have continually been broken and obstructed in order for these people, these animals, to insinuate that somehow I am the crazy one, the wrong one, that I am the criminal. It's been non-stop, constant attacks hurled at me. I've been denied the right to a hearing, a trial. Lies with no proof, no evidence can be made up about me to where I am denied due process under color of law. My life destroyed, my family separated. And when I gather every last drop of evidence, 100% showing my innocence, and show every last piece of evidence that it was a conspired upon, cooked up plot to remove and continue removing my civil rights, I get denied any ability for vindication, denied a hearing, denied prosecution of the true criminals for which solid evidence shows beyond all reasonable doubt. More lies are then conjured up, which are then proven wrong. More obstruction, more attacks on me and my family. My economic opportunities are attacked and destroyed. The media acts like they don't see a thing despite everything even published. It couldn't be any clearer than what I've made it. And God help me if I hadn't have published everything along the way to corroborate every last thing I've said. Because for sure, I would be labeled as crazy by these people, and it might just stick. The problem for these people is them really truly trying to assert that makes them the crazy ones. Because the evidence is here, and it shows every single thing I've claimed from the beginning. I am a patriot, a Marine Corps veteran. I pledge to the defense of our nation, to our Constitution, to protect and defend both from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We are, in fact, in a time of war, a time of uncertainty, a time prophesied about in the Bible. Evil, pure evil, has plagued society and the world we live in. It's beyond me that someone has so much sway, so much influence to control the reporting of every station in the media, to influence and control the judges, attorneys, committees that hold attorneys and judges accountable, law enforcement agencies, both state and federal, with so many in every echelon of our government. You would think that I am indeed the crazy one, and that's what they want you to believe. That's what Ray and Robin Tannehill want you to believe. And they do a phenomenal job of it, let me tell you. Impressive, mind-blowing, bravo. Controlling every facet of an already corrupt government teeter-tottling on the edge of complete chaos that in no way can and will sustain with how far off track everything has gone in society. The complete disrespect and disregard for our Constitution, our veterans, and the rights afforded to us, our unalienable rights bestowed upon us by God. A time when Democrat leaders push a mask-wearing mandate while allowing and supporting abortions, even late-term abortions, leading to an exponentially higher amount of deaths than what some introduced China virus could ever have done. See, it's all about control at any cost, and it couldn't be any more evident than the proof that has already been generated up to this point with my journey to vindicate myself and hit back hard in the producing of Riding with the Outlaw. This type of disgusting fraud and corruption, the stacking of the deck, the further politicization of the courts, and the further manipulation of the media will never be condoned by a free society still composed of patriots, militia, and all who pledged a lifelong oath to America to protect and defend against this very thing. Tyrants will never be allowed to stand on American soil. It's crystal clear that at the hands of a socialist mayor and her puppeteer husband, that the city of Oxford and its surrounding areas have become Constitution-disregarded zones that are not ruled upon by law, but rather ruled upon by mob and influence. It has forever destroyed the integrity of the state that I held in high regard at one time, when its citizens actually had a backbone, understood right from wrong, had a strong knowledge and showing of ethics, rejected socialism and its ways brought about through the tyrannic ones at the top of the pyramid, throwing their influence to bring about whatever change they desire without regard or care for our established laws, our supreme laws, and human decency. As I've said, animals, disgusting animals, that have taken society to a point of being at war with itself. The people that will be responsible for the largest bloodshed in the history of the world when the Second Civil War breaks out within the boundaries of this once great nation, and it's lingering on the horizon. Our country has lost all sight of its values on which it was established. A lawless nation of laws. I've never in my life witnessed such an atrocity, and yet it serves as a daily reminder that our freedom never truly comes free. It comes at a price. We never plan to fail. Rather, we fail to plan. And that's what truly holds each and every one of us back from our true potential. Be thankful for each and every opportunity. We stand for freedom, liberty, and the Constitution. We will combat all those who are corrupt. We are America's insurance policy. We will not see our republic fall. We are everywhere. We are the 3%. While that motto energizes me to the fullest and truly is one of my favorites, it's way more than just your run-of-the-mill motto.
That is a key motto among a band of brothers that I became a part of back in 2017, called the Three Percenters. I guess from an unofficial standpoint, I became part of them back in 2008, when I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I would bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I would obey the orders of the President of the United States. But hey, who's counting time? Especially at a time where there's more of it than we know what to do with in light of this latest pandemic, the coronavirus. If anything, even somewhat positive came from the government intervening with businesses and with the issuances of stay-at-home orders. It was that it gave me some time to move forward on preparing everything, to come forward with my story from 2017. When anyone is backed far enough into the corner, to a point of not having any perceivable breathing room, instilled human instinct is to fight back. That proverbial last straw that was hanging by a thread broke not so long ago when, for the third time in 3 years, my almost 6-year-old daughter was used as a chess piece against me in a staged war of the courts by her mother, who in my opinion should have been committed to a mental asylum many years ago. But that's a different story for a different day. This is about justice, but not just for me. Because at the end of the day, no matter how cut and dry the evidence is that I was framed by a ridiculously corrupt local government, taken over by some of the most heartless, careless, and quite frankly dangerous people when banded together the way they did back in 2017. I say that with 100% full confidence. And while some may not side with me, we all know the extents the Democrat Party will go in order to ensure a win. So be it if morals and decency get completely tossed away. We've seen example after example of it over the last 5 years. So my story, when all laid out, should not come as a complete and total shock to most, although the particular details of everything are absolutely disgusting. And as such, these people should absolutely be brought to justice. And I would hope that after hearing the details, the FBI would conduct a non-biased, thorough investigation into the facts of everything in order to do just that. It was not long after President Trump took office and all the proof had surfaced in regards to the extreme corruption shown by the Democrats to obstruct and break any law and moral code they needed in order to accomplish their set-out agenda. There were many people that thought I was crazy for taking the counter stance that I took, standing up for conservative values, but ultimately for standing up for our constitutional rights and those rights which make us the constitutional republic that we are. I never had an issue standing up and speaking my mind on any issue. And while I may have disagreed myself with the views of others, I always believed they had a right to voice their opinions. There were many loudmouth liberals that called me every name under the sun, even threatened. My own family was confused as to why I so adamantly held firm on my beliefs and wasn't afraid to walk into a lion's den of those who had a different opinion, and a big chunk of them sharing similar opinions of others in the room, being that they didn't want me there and they wanted me silenced. That leads on to one of my favorite quotes by a man named Steve Jobs, founder of a company called Apple. While Steve and I probably came from two completely different sides of the political spectrum, I can find vast amounts of appreciation in his key quote, which reads as follows. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square hole, the ones who see things differently. They're not quite fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. I would say that I've always been patriotic to the core, and that dedication and true patriotism peaked in me for the first time when I enlisted into the United States Marine Corps back in December of 2007. It would peak again at an even higher level, just shy of a decade later, when our Constitution and the very things I believed in and took an oath to defend came under siege. And all in about a month's time, my rights were laid siege to, and all of it ushered in by a well-formed group of co-conspirators and obstructionists, which are two fancy and lengthy names for the types of disgusting, low-life criminals these people truly are. See, I was framed on a crime I did not commit. I was framed on a crime I could not possibly have committed. I was presumed guilty until proven innocent. And due process under color of law, and that which all citizens are to be afforded under the United States Constitution, was never given to me. The only thing these animals had going in their favor was fear-mongering and coercion tactics, the left-wing media propaganda, and the assumed power given to them under their appointed authorities. The craziest part is that all but maybe one or two still hold their same appointed or elected positions to this day. But with most of America fed up with scandals such as this atrocity, the time is now for true justice to be rendered and for me to clear my name in an attempt to get my life back, my rights back, and to truly walk from that city and county knowing that it wasn't for nothing, and that justice was served by a non-biased and fair judicial system that respects and preserves due process and isn't out for a tacky decimation of another's rights and life for political purposes and social gain.
Our country has lost all sight of its values on which it was established. A lawless nation of laws. I've never in my life witnessed such an atrocity, and yet it serves as a daily reminder that our freedom never truly comes free. It comes at a price. We never plan to fail. Rather, we fail to plan. And that's what truly holds each and every one of us back from our true potential. Be thankful for each and every opportunity you have, and make the most of it. Be unwavering in your commitment, even if others don't agree with you. Be certain and dedicate fully, refusing to give up and back down, and most certainly in your convictions when it comes to your perceived values of right and wrong, in the face of true evil. The times truly testing of your faith are here. How will your legacy reflect on you and future generations? It hinge on the decisions you make right now. Now is the time to take a stand for the freedoms of tomorrow. It is a decision that you are going to have to make. This whole ordeal has been the biggest nightmare I can't wake up from. I knew it would be the biggest challenge of my life, but this is absolute hell. Nobody seems to take a damn thing seriously. The government agencies who know they are in the wrong continuously make a mockery of everything because nobody seems to hold them accountable, which in turn makes the issue at heart grow larger than life.
The influence of the media seems to be a make or break on everything in today's society. I've been every bit the opposite of silent on everything. I've resonated to a point of losing my voice, and it's like the mute button has been hit the entire time. It's like a story building within a story, which undoubtedly will lead to complete devastation, not just for me, but for everybody. I've documented, journalized, reported relentlessly. I've thrown myself into the middle of a viper pit because that is the only avenue I saw that could possibly produce a positive outcome and remedy the horrible things and horrible people that have destroyed my life and caused society to drift so far off track as it has been headed over the past decade. I made the conscious decision that I'd rather fall as a martyr on my feet to a worthy and noble cause than to ever surrender, accepting defeat on my knees.
Okay. So, to fill you in, Friday I hand-delivered my inked letter to Blowhard Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, and I didn't have that nickname for him before until I figured out that his corrupt ass was part of the problem. So, what happened? I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "I do." And he looked at me when he first saw me like he already knew exactly who I was. I knew he knew who I was. I just couldn't remember what his name was. I put my trust in this assistant U.S. attorney to guide me in the right direction, or to take the evidence I already had and do something about it. The problem is, because I'm not a socialist, because I'm not a Democrat, because I don't fit the agenda of this city that they're aggressively trying to shove down the throats of the citizens in this area, because I take a stand for what's right, for the Constitution, for Southern heritage. I had information that would have had ramifications on the incoming mayor and her husband back in May of 2017. I told Bob I was trying to find out why the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District, which has a fiduciary responsibility, a moral responsibility to investigate crimes of corruption and certainly to prosecute them if they exist, why over about 2 months' time I got the runaround, I got kicked to the back. They refused to give me a call and look at all the evidence that I had gathered in regards to this being 100% framed, my civil rights being conspired upon to be removed. He wouldn't give me an answer. I had requested, and I have been long now in wait of, the 302 investigative report generated by the FBI from a sit-down meeting that I had with him May 25th, 2017, where I discussed the death threat that was on me, where I discussed how my rights, my civil rights, my First Amendment right to speak, as well as petition the government for a redress of grievances, how that was thrown away due to a cheap shot injunction. And anytime the FBI meets with a citizen, anytime that there's any kind of interview, especially at a field office like it was done, it's supposed to be done in the presence of a second agent. And that was the case. There were 2 agents that sat down with me in the conference room of the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi. In a FOIA request, a public records request, I have requested the 302 from that sit-down meeting to corroborate everything that I've said. I also know that the FBI is a politicized weapon. They've been a politicized weapon. They especially were activated as a political weapon when the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was elected to office. You see the proof with General Flynn, how the crooked FBI illegally wiretapped him in order to purposefully frame him to try to get inside of the Trump organization. And so I know not to trust the FBI to do the right thing. So in addition to this 302, which is missing according to the FBI, they will not respond to it, I also requested the video evidence of this sit-down meeting to corroborate the accuracy of the 302. And what do you know? The video is deleted after a certain amount of time that they could not specify the amount of time. They simply said that it's up to their technicians to determine. So when I pressed Bob Norman for this, for why they sat by with a moral and fiduciary obligation to answer the call for help, to prevent public corruption, he wouldn't give me an answer. I asked him about why his office would not even so much as return a phone call to examine the evidence. He would not give me an answer. I said, Bob, your office, and this is why I put together the open letter that I did, because whether or not the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Mississippi wants to provide answer or not, that letter needs to go on file at the Department of Justice in Washington, addressed to Attorney General William Barr. This corrupt bullshit has gone on long enough. It's affected enough lives, it's destroyed enough lives, and God knows it's destroyed mine. Marine Corps veteran, patriotic citizen. My rights are brutally trampled on, and nobody seems to give a shit. And what is apparently a dumbed-down society from people drinking the Kool-Aid that's been given by our government pushing some kind of alternate plan here. And I have full faith and confidence in our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. There are enemies of our country embedded in the alphabet agencies, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, that are directly causing significant harm to our society. They're not going to stop. They're not going to back down until they completely destroy it. And it's on the citizens themselves to step up and grab the reins and either do something about it or allow it to happen. And if you allow it to happen, you're not going to have your opportunity to save it later. And that's why I'm taking the aggressive approach that I'm taking, and trying to vindicate myself through riding with the outlaw, to trying to get to answers. Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, when I told him that he and his office had a moral and fiduciary obligation to protect American citizens, to go after, to prosecute the real criminals. His answer to me, which was absolutely gawking, was our office is protecting the public from criminals such as yourself, knowing that everything, the letter, the DVD that I just gave you, everything that I've uncovered and I've published. There's absolutely no way I could have possibly committed the crime that they accused me of. The FBI knew it. That's why the 302 is missing. That's why they will not respond to the FOIA request. That's also why the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County, as well as the Lafayette County's attorney, when pressed for details about that May 24th, 2017 phone call, which through the Sheriff's Office, through their own admission, was what generated the warrant for them to come after me, for them to ambush me on the square in Oxford when I was going to a bar to sit down with a friend to have a beer on May 26th. And this blowhard U.S. attorney wants to call me a criminal. He's the criminal. He's the problem. He is directly the problem. Bob Norman. Finally caught you.
Excuse me, I'm on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Sir, what can I do for you?
You've been a hard guy to reach. Well, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of everything. It's been fraudulent concealment out the ass. You know you guys are holding on to something, they're not giving up.
You know what? There's no point in me responding to that because you're not going to reason anyway.
I just want to know.
Ask you something. You talk about being a Marine Corps veteran.
That's right.
The Marine Corps kicked you out because you couldn't hack it.
They kicked me out because I couldn't hack it. I'd like to see.
Discharge you have.
Huh?
What discharge you have?
It's a general, under other than honorable conditions, for alcohol rehabilitation failure because.
Couldn't hack it.
No, because I witnessed 2 gruesome suicides. Because I couldn't hack it. Let me see your service. Where's your service record at, Blowhard Bob?
I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps and came out with an honorable discharge.
Oh, yeah? So why can't you apply the law equally?
I do. You're a convicted felon.
Okay, and I've also, per the rights granted to me in the Constitution, I have every right to obtain justice, to seek justice. Every right. Granted to me under the United States Constitution.
You got justice.
Under the United States Constitution, you're a crooked son of a bitch.
Sheriff's Department.
Hey, April, is Alan Wilburn nearby?
Hang on.
Hello?
Alan Wilburn.
Yes.
It's Matt Reardon.
Okay.
Hey, I'm outside. I was gonna see if you had that if you had that evidence.
I do not, because your case has been you pled guilty, so all that stuff is in a file, and we no longer look back at it.
You do realize the burden of proof shifts to you if I bring a lawsuit for your libelous comments, correct? Hey, come here, I gotta show you something. Hey, I got something I want to show you, man. There's some important news. Did you see the my release for you? Like the recent one? Yeah. Let's see. What do you think about the fraud over there at Circuit Court? The what? The fraud at Circuit Court. What about that fraud? So I caught them changing records up there. Luckily, I had the screenshots.
have the sunlight. There you go.
Lots of stuff going on in Oxford. Lots of stuff going on in Fayette County.
Son, you back full strength. Now you're getting the call.
That freedom ain't free. It comes with a price tag. Yeah, you know who it is. Life been cold for a little while. Keystone Kid, Kilo Jones, Ascot Mills, why they call me the outlaw.
Really?
All the time reminding bribes, pro, racketeer, pay for play, you filthy Democrat. Another one, just for fun. I think it's him, he's back again. Oh shit, it's
Hey, Scott, Alan, how you gonna tell me you destroyed the evidence,
when you look at that.
but you're gonna lie to the Oxford Eagle? You're gonna lie to the Oxford Eagle and then tell me you destroyed the evidence. How you gonna lie to the Oxford Eagle and then destroy the damn evidence? You didn't lie when you said that I threatened their life. You didn't lie to them when you said that I threatened their life. You didn't lie to them when you said I steadily drove by. I'm the liar.
Go get you a job, son.
I'm the liar. Okay, where's the evidence to back up your frivolous, silly, lame-ass claims? Huh?
You had a court time, but you found guilty. Go get
Okay,
a job.
but you said that I steadily drove by their place and put them in fear of their life. You're a joke. You're a damn joke. Man, let your life get destroyed over some just fake-ass lies like that. Hell no, I ain't letting it go. You wouldn't let it go. Marine Corps veteran, I wrote a blank check to our government for an amount of my life to protect and defend the Constitution against shit like that.
If I had court on my case, don't do it.
No, that's the thing. I got the evidence that this is a framed crime against, and y'all think it's just a joke. That's why you just looked away smiling?
Now I'm trying to make people, all this person that you're doing, nobody got you talking about like that.
Write me a ticket.
Oh, that's
So that's what it's about now?
Nope.
Y'all want to make it worse than it's already been. I've already lost my economic opportunity. I've been attacked 10 ways to Sunday, and then you want to talk about I shouldn't be mad? Y'all come out here as a crew, not one of you truly understand what it's like. I found fraud at circuit court. They're changing records. They're steadily trying to play cover up. He's destroying evidence. It's ridiculous.
Have you contacted an attorney about any of that?
That's the thing. Ray Tannehill. It all goes up to the top, to the mayor's office. It's funny that Ray Tannehill gets appointed by the Supreme Court to the Mississippi Bar Tribunal. You know, coincidentally, the people that you complain to if it's a bad attorney, I was misrepresented. Well, none of the attorneys will have anything to do with me, and I know it's because of influence. You go to writingwiththeoutlaw.com and go to mattreardon.com. Look at all the freaking, it's indisputable. It's indisputable. There's fraudulent concealment going on. The May 24th phone call, which is what Jared Bunder got the warrant from. Nobody will tell me who made the call. I know it came from the top. That's why, because honestly, the covenant to not sue, Lafayette County, the Sheriff's Department, all that, the county would have been perfectly fine had they not have fraudulently concealed and refused to produce the information requested on a public information request, which was that. Now the covenant to not sue is kind of out the window, because now I have a reason to sue. Until they did that, I was kind of stuck by the covenant to not sue they made me sign. So it has to be somebody really important that made the call, and all evidence points to the Tannehills. See, the funny thing is, 22nd they took out an injunction on me. I get hunted down on the 23rd, 24th, mysterious phone call comes in. The 25th, I meet with the FBI. They will not produce the 302 request from the sit-down meeting on the 25th. 26th, I get ambushed. I'm supposed to get 48 hours in jail before I get a bond hearing. I'm held for 96. Nobody's given any kind of explanation for that.
Oh, 96 days, not a bond
96 hours, so 4 days. 4 days. You have to go before a judge within 2. It was 4 days before I went before a judge. Judge Bell, Carolyn Bell, she refused to let me address the court to show that I had a bill of sale proving I didn't purchase the AR-15 until May 20th. They allege on or before May 8th. I used that AR-15 to put the Lynches in fear of their life. But I was going to their bar every day pretty much up until the 19th of May. Why would I put them in fear of their life? I don't even know where they live. And then, I mean, it's the craziest witch hunt ever. It's destroyed my life over lies.
Well, none of us out here personally worked on your case.
No, I know.
So we don't know anything about your case as far as that goes.
I just want to find answers. I'm doing my due diligence as afforded to me by my rights in order to the few rights I have left, in order to seek vindication and to hold the responsible, parties accountable that are the true criminals. Because I'm going to tell you, if they could do it to me, if the government could do it to me, a Marine Corps veteran who, pledged a lifetime oath to our country to protect and defend it, they could do it to anybody. And that's the scary part. They do it to somebody that freaking pledged their life to our country. I was a airframe and hydraulic mechanic. I was, unfortunately, I never deployed. I was in a non-deployable squadron. It was BMAT 203. It was 4 years. From the end of 2007 was when I joined in December, and I got out in 2011. I got out for alcohol rehabilitation failure. There were 2 gruesome suicides. One of them it was June. It was at Camp Devil Dog, the Marine combat training that I was in. That was the last time that they allowed live rounds on Armory Watch. The dude found out that his girlfriend back home was Dear Johning him, and yeah, I went to rehab while I was in the Marine Corps, and then after rehab, they had strict orders for me not to drink, and fuck no, hell no. Do I sound like I'm under the influence? Am I making any kind of weird movements like I'm under the influence? I mean, I think you would be pretty pissed off. Like I said, put yourself in my shoes for a second. I'm trying to find out why. The Oxford Eagle article, there were millions of splinters sent through this area based on lies. Alan Wilburn's in the Oxford Eagle article saying that I would drive by their place and I threatened their life multiple times. Yet, there's no proof. I never once threatened anybody. I've always claimed to be a patriot. I would never put anybody in harm's way. I would protect innocent people, my family, myself. That would be the only time I would engage somebody. But, I mean, I just simply want to know, where's his proof for saying that? How's he going to give? He's been doing this stuff for long enough. He should know better. He should use the word allegedly. Okay? In something that's currently going on, the word allegedly. You don't actually say in fact something to the media unless you actually have proof. And he knows that. And I'm asking him for his proof because that's what a lot of people are going on and spreading their lies, and he doesn't have it. Imagine your name just freaking ripped to shreds. And you got Sleepy right here.
See, Matt, this is where when you were being tried for crime.
I wasn't tried. Look, that's what I was trying to tell you. Judge Bell gave me a $150,000 bond, okay? 4 days after I was arrested, knowing that I couldn't afford that, okay? No. I sat in jail for 6 weeks. I kept trying to get a bail reduction hearing. The guidelines established by the Supreme Court say for a crime up to 10 years. And see, aggravated... Huh? No. I was given 5 years. I was given 5 years supervised probation. Yeah.
Your attorney could have filed for a motion of discovery.
He didn't. My attorney was part of the problem. That's why I'm so angry. My attorney was part of the problem. He told me to if I didn't plea out, that they were going to throw the book at me. They were going to railroad me with a whole bunch of other charges, made-up charges, to get a guaranteed conviction so they could send me to Parsons. And so I could either plea out and take the banishment and leave Oxford and Lafayette County for 5 years, surrendered my guns. My daughter lives over here, and she's been used as a wedge of the court the entire time. She was used as a wedge of the court then to manipulate a favored outcome.
What did you do?
Huh?
What did you do?
What did I
Did
do?
you plea out or anything?
Yeah. I took the advice of my attorney because I wasn't getting a bond reduction hearing. And a presumably innocent person sitting in jail for 6 weeks, not given the opportunity to get a bond that he could afford to get out. The same.
It sounds like you need to be going to talk to your attorney, like this lieutenant said. You need to be going to consult with your attorney.
But there's people in this county.
About.
No, my attorney is part of the problem. He's the most corrupt thing of all. I don't have anything to do with it.
Well, how are you alone? Get him to go talk to
With what money?
Well, he's coming up here harassing.
Harassing?
Yeah,
No. What has happened to me? What has happened to me has been complete, absolute hell. And so what I'm doing is what I'm constitutionally allowed to do.
Matt, the North Mississippi Rural Legal Service.
Can't.
Why?
Because of my ex, the one that's used my daughter against me in court. She has Christy McCoy. She put a false rape accusation against me back in November of 2018. She just went to court. She just got sentenced to 30 days because they treated it as a misdemeanor for filing a false rape accusation.
What's that have to do with the Rural
Because
Legal
Christy
Service?
McCoy is the attorney over there at Rural Legal Services. I can't go to them for anything because of conflict of interest.
Have you tried a different county to see if they have a Rural
I've
Legal
called so
Services
many different
or-
attorneys, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I used to have about $8,000 a month of residual coming in before everything happened in 2017. I just got a $10,000 payout on that, and then, boom, I get freaking framed for a crime I didn't commit. I'm sitting in jail. My residual income steadily dwindling. Now it's down to about $1,500 a month, and my ex takes $600 of it, and I haven't even seen my child since January. It's kidnapping. This is organized crime. RICO. It's got RICO written all over it.
Well, we can't hit.
I know, but I want you to know, when you see me, when I'm trying to get to the bottom of something, it's because I have a legitimate reason. You know, the freedom of the press shall not be abridged. Okay, and that's what I feel like I'm doing. There have been people that have said I'm going about it the wrong way with riding with the outlaw, but I'm certain of my wrongness if I'm wrong. Okay, because I'm tired of there being.
What's riding with the outlaw?
It's the live documentary.
Oh, okay. Well, ultimately, I don't think you're going to get the answers you're looking for coming up here talking to the major as far as a 4 or 5 year old.
The major's a coward.
It's a 4 or 5 year old case.
No, it's a 3-year-old case.
3-year-old case. However, at the end of the day,
I was also blocked from coming back to town until a few months ago. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you've been coming up here.
and I have every right to. I have every right to. Look what happened to me. The major is a coward. He is an absolute coward.
Well, that's your personal opinion, but it's not going to solve your problem. This is not going to happen with legal representation to solve the problem. You're not going to get the answers you're looking for out of him. The case is over. I mean, it's a fact. You pled guilty to it, so, I mean, we don't sit here and reminisce on old cases and just open up the file and say, oh, look at this.
I know it's easy for you to say because your economic opportunity wasn't destroyed. You didn't have millions of lies spread throughout the area and surrounding areas about you. You didn't have your family completely destroyed over it. All right, so yeah, that's easy to say.
If you think about it the right way,
I've tried to.
I'm pretty sure he'll
No, I caught him red-handed yesterday.
If you're doing all this like you did last week, nobody's going to want to talk to you about
I caught him red-handed yesterday. And that was when he told me today that he doesn't have the evidence. When he knew all along there was no evidence because I never did it. So, you know what? It's about time that people get held accountable for the crimes they commit. The system is unjust. It's unequal. The laws are applied unequally. And it's about time that shit changed.
Well, Matt, honestly, it's nothing personal. If some other person came up here and said, "Hey, I pled guilty to a case 3 years ago. Let me get that evidence."
This area has known. This area has known that they framed me. There's no doubt about it. They have known, they have played a part in it, and they have benefited from it. They have personally found benefit from it. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They used that as a publicity stunt back in May of 2017. May and June. You got to look at and then look at the dates on everything. Look at the dates on everything. Tannehill gets elected mayor June 6th. Okay, that was exactly a week, 7 days after my bond hearing. They did that because they knew that I wouldn't be able to get in front of a judge to get my bond reduced in time to get out, to bring the information.
All the citizens of Oxford elected Mayor Tannehill.
No, she was already set. She was already set to come on. She knows, they know that they already violated the law by coming after me for constitutionally protected activity. You look at the restraining order that they took out on me back in May of 2017. The stuff listed in there, it's not criminal. No, I'm saying that was the preliminary injunction that Ray Tannehill took out representing his wife, Robin. Back in
whenever you
that was when y'all. No, I went and met with the FBI because he was part of the problem with keeping my daughter away from me, and they also took out that emergency injunction to bar me from speaking at City Hall on June 6th, the day of her election. I was on the agenda. I'm listed. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I can't remember.
No, May 1st, Timmy Pruitt arrested me standing in front of the Confederate statue.
What was the thing about Ray?
The thing about Ray was May 16th. I spoke out at City Hall. Pat Patterson wouldn't let me speak. He said I had to put my name on the agenda for the next meeting. I said I'm going to address this session anyways. And see, they knew that I was going to speak. They had Oxford Police Department officers sitting right beside me the whole time. I wasn't there to hurt, cause any harm to anybody, but I was addressing the government. I was petitioning the government for a redress of grievances over the state flag. And so I stood up and I said, each of y'all, and I pointed to each of the Board of Alderman members and the mayor, and I said, each of y'all are a cultural Marxist if you choose to continue taking state funds from the state of Mississippi, the tax dollars, yet refuse to fly the state flag, which was voted in by the taxpayers. To me, that's a slap in the face, and a slap in the face to democracy and our constitutional republic, our way of voting, okay? The taxpayers vote for something. You don't listen to it. If you choose to go about your own way, why are you taking taxpayer dollars? That was my issue, okay? So because I called each of them a cultural Marxist, that was what they went off of. It was a joke on that injunction order. Tannehill was over there giving a sworn affidavit saying that I went to City Hall with a gun on my hip, and that I looked at her, and that I pointed at her with a gun on my hip. It was holstered. What's wrong with that? Joke. She's an illegitimate mayor. She used what happened to me to help shield their crimes, and they still are. I mean, you look at the website, I've got, it's indisputable evidence. It's indisputable. The days, it's a joke. They had zero evidence for the charge they brought against me, that they made it where I could not get out, to defend myself, to show the bill of sale, all that. Wouldn't even let me speak in court at the bond hearing. Bill won't talk to me. Avent won't talk to me. Meanwhile, Bill said an accused rapist and kidnapper, guy that kidnapped and raped a girl at Ole Miss, that multiple victims have come forward, as a joke. She set his bond at $20,000. $10,000 for each charge. $10,000 for the rape, $10,000 for the kidnapping. And that was less than a year after she set my bond at $150,000. Basically saying that that a patriot, a Marine Corps veteran, who kept a gun on his hip and fought for the state flag 7.5 times.
You got deployed?
No, I told you I was at a non-deployable squadron. So my squadron, we trained new pilots, came into the Marine Corps to fly the AV-8B Harrier, and they would get assigned to a gun squadron, go overseas and drop bombs on Iraq. What do you mean I fought? I fought for the flag as far as the state flag of Mississippi. I advocated for the state flag of Mississippi. Because, and it's not even about that flag, it's about the will of the people. And that's the thing. It's never been about Confederate history so much. It's been about constitutional rights. I'm a constitutionalist. The will of the people.
And man, I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm just a little confused. Where exactly is your grievance? Is it the statue? Is it the flag? Is it Tannehill? Is it Major Wilson?
My grievance in general is socialism. Okay?
Well, this office, we don't have anything to do with
I understand that. I understand that, but this office played an absolutely critical part in everything. I'll tell you what happened. I know what happened. It was Buddy, okay? And unfortunately, I can't put Buddy on the stand because Buddy's gone. And that's one of the reasons why there needs to be term limits on government employees and elected officials. Because somebody that's been in office for 40-something years, okay, you can't say that he didn't have all the sway in the world.
Well, I spoke with your representative about term limits on elected officials.
No.
That'd be the route to go. Speak to your representative.
But no, it's not. But that's not the reason I'm here. The reason I'm here right now was because of Sleepy right there destroying evidence.
What evidence do you have that he destroyed evidence?
His statement to the Oxford Eagle in the newspaper article saying Major Alan Wilburn says there was no allegedly. It was, he stated that in fact. Okay, you stated in fact, you better have the evidence to back it up or else it's libel, it's slander, it's defamation, and it's under color of law, not just personal.
I haven't seen the Oxford Eagle article, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
All you got to do is just type in Matt Reardon Oxford, you know, and it's right there on the first page of Google.
You make it.
What? Are you a joke? Did I make their newspaper article? I mean, think about what you're asking. You're trying to play the devil's advocate on my questions, but it doesn't even make sense what you're asking, man. Come on. I bet I'm not.
It don't make sense to me either. So you're saying a newspaper article stated that Alan Wilburn stated that you, in fact, did an alleged crime.
That I would drive by their place, so I want to know what kind of evidence he has to back the fact that I would drive by their place, their house. I don't even know where they live.
Well, that evidence would be available to you in the pre-trial phase via a motion of discovery.
I know that,
However,
but unfortunately, I was unlawfully kept in jail on a bond that would not be lowered for 6 weeks. They left me with no other option, I felt, but to flee out, to get out, to provide for my family. Because they would not give me a presumably innocent person. Because by the Constitution, all accused are innocent until proven guilty. So you have to assume that, you know, regardless, until it's proven in court, a trial, that I'm innocent. Well, $150,000, I'd never been accused of a felony before. Never. I was not a criminal. So to keep me locked up on a $150,000 bond is morally unjustifiable.
You apply for a bond reduction?
Yes. And that's the thing. I need my calls from the jail. I told Joey that yesterday. He doesn't know if they're still available or not. Go figure. Like all the recorded calls. You know, from inside of the, now all calls are recorded going out.
You might have to get an attorney.
No, I filed my own motions. I filed my own post-conviction relief. I filed my own motion of recusal, my own motion for rehearing, my own motion to compel evidence and preserve evidence. And a crooked judge wanted to call the motion to compel and preserve evidence for me. Why?
We went to these a recorded call.
My recorded calls?
Okay.
I mean, I can get a subpoena. I don't need a lawyer. I file my own legal filing. Yep. You ought to see my filings I got on file over at Circuit Court. Don't blow your mind. I just filed my motion to appeal to the Supreme Court. It was 7 pages long, and I freaking the circuit judge, should have recused himself because of conflict of interest. He knew about all the fraud committed by Lafayette County. I sent it all in an email to his court administrator because I was looking for guidance on how to get a hearing, an evidentiary hearing. Sent it to Kathy Sturdivant. She passed it to Judge Luther. Judge Luther read through all the emails. He got back to her and said, let him know he has to go to the post-conviction relief method. So she replied to me and said, Judge Luther reviewed all your emails and said, in Mississippi, if you wish to challenge a plea or conviction, you have to do it via post-conviction relief. So I filed a post-conviction relief. I raised 6 meritorious reasons, including constitutional rights violations, that had occurred in order to seek an evidentiary hearing, to present my evidence. He denied it. It's the same judge that also denied reducing my bond. You know, I'm telling you, these people, if I didn't have the evidence to back up everything that I said, if I didn't document everything, then these people would be successful in calling me crazy. No doubt about it. The problem is, they're the crazy ones because I've got the evidence to back it all up. And they know that their walls are about to collapse if I get the Supreme Court to reverse and render on this.
All right. So what exactly do you want from the sheriff's office?
I want what the sheriff's office has been withholding from me. I want Alan Wilburn that knowingly said false statements to further destroy my reputation. I want the proof to back up his claim. If he has it, then it's not slander. It's not libel. It's not defamation. If he doesn't, he's got a problem. You cannot say that and say it under color of law about a presumably innocent person unless you have evidence to substantiate. And you know this. Y'all know this.
Again, you should have got this during the pre-trial phase to a motion to discovery.
Once again,
and I understand. I hear you.
Y'all have my head all fucked up with all this. Because I'm over there, I get blindsided by a crime that I did not nor could not have committed. In fact, there's no way I could have committed the crime. That's the crazy part.
Just think about this. Why, 3 years later, would we dig out evidence and give it to the alleged suspect of the crime? Why would we do that?
Because did you not take an oath to protect and serve, to uphold and defend the Constitution? My right as a citizen is to, everybody has the right to seek evidence, to obtain justice, to obtain vindication, especially in something like this where the proof has come out that not only am I innocent, but this has been a conspired upon plot. So why, in answer to your question, why? 3 years later, I'm within the window to overturn this. Why would y'all not have it? Is the question I would turn back around on the sheriff's department. Why would y'all not have something? The courts are instructed that in lack of evidence, they have to look at the matter in the way that's most favorable to the one bringing the action, the motion. So if the evidence is not there, if it's been destroyed or whatever, okay?
What are you at in terms of your, in terms of court?
Of the appeal to the Supreme Court? So I just put in the designation of record as far as what all I want. I just made the claim of prosecutorial misconduct against Mickey Mallett.
Okay. And you're waiting for the Supreme Court to get back to you, right?
The Supreme Court is either going to, I'm still in the phase of getting the record, approving the record before it gets, transferred to the Supreme Court. They'll either They'll either take it on themselves or they will kick it to the Court of Appeals. Regardless, what I'm really appealing right here is the the fact that I was denied an evidentiary hearing. I need to have a trial. They need to undo my guilty plea because of
given an opportunity for a trial, and you were given that opportunity. How you doing for a trial? And you pled guilty.
Don't come to me with that.
Is that not what it is?
Don't start with me on that.
You did.
I understand that, but you also know everything else around it and exactly why. I've got a psychological report from a month and a half after I got out, where a psychiatrist, a psychologist, is saying that I pled out under fear and duress, where I was coerced. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's funny that somebody's fucking life gets destroyed.
I'm looking at it.
You know, yeah, you know what movie I think about? I think about law-abiding citizens.
I'm not going on. I'm actually off.
I think about law-abiding citizens.
What you're talking about.
I know the law.
Your own attorney, I guess.
I am.
I can't get it. Well, the Supreme Court the agreements that you have, we can't address those. Now,
because I have legitimate reason to be here. That's the thing. I do. We can both agree to disagree on that.
Well, that's just my advice. I think you ought to go to the Supreme Court and address your grievances that way, because they're not going to get solved here. I mean, we're not going to go in there and pull out evidence when the case is closed and somebody that pled guilty and bring you the evidence and say, hey, look, this is what we're going to bring to the table against you. We're not going to do that. And we don't sit here and reminisce.
So protect and serve. If I'm truly innocent, and there are, in fact, criminals that conspired against me to arrange this that I have proof of, the whole phrase protect and serve, why is it that I'm being denied ultimately the rights that everybody should have in making sure that the truly guilty parties are prosecuted? And the way to do that is through not obstructing it, when I have the evidence that substantiates everything that I'm saying. You know, protect and serve means protect and serve.
What evidence are you talking about?
Once again, go to my website, go to the... I've got all the proof of my innocence. I've got the guy that sold me the freaking gun that's willing to testify. I bought it on May 20th because my ex sent me a text message, a lengthy text message, saying that she knew that somebody had intent on killing me. So I went and I bought an AR-15. I bought a bulletproof vest because I was ready to go full-blown militant on whoever came freaking wanting to cause harm to myself and my family, if need be. But I wouldn't engage until they, unless they actually posed a risk to me.
Again, I think you need to go to the Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, go that route, because just coming up here hooping and hollering and getting loud and calling people cowards and stuff like that.
He is a coward.
It's not going to get you the things you're looking for, Matt. I'm
well,
sorry,
he's neglecting his obligations and responsibilities that he.
We don't have an obligation or responsibility.
You do, and it's called protecting and serving.
Not to turn over evidence on a closed case to the alleged suspect.
Even if it's evidence that proves his innocence, y'all, that's not protecting and serving. I'm sorry, but if that's actually truly the case, then I guess I'm at war with society.
They would not have.
Because this is treasonous.
They would not have collected as evidence to use against you.
They didn't have evidence. That's what I'm trying to show here. They have not a damn thing as evidence back there.
After that motion of discovery would have been great during the pre-trial phase before you pled guilty.
This is just a full-blown declaration of war.
Well, like I said, Matt, I got some paperwork I got to take care of, but that's my biggest piece of advice to you. Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, go that route, and go from there. Because you're really wasting time up here. You know, if you want to report a crime, if you need extra patrol, somebody's trying to hurt you or do anything, we're more than happy to help you out. You know, but as far as turning over evidence on a closed case, we're not going to do that. Not to be alleged suspect, not without a court order.
I'm not going to stop.
And, I understand. But I'm just saying, be smart about it.
I'm going to say the same thing to the sheriff's department. Be smart about it. Don't violate my constitutional rights again. Because, you know, right now, they're lucky enough to be outside of the window, unless I were to, there's a couple of different ways that I can, you know, do the fraudulent concealment claim. But they violate my rights again. Trust me, I've studied up on the law. I know every single bit about the law, and I know exactly what all has been done to me from over the past 3 years. So, I mean, it would. I'm just gonna advise that you guys, you know, apply the law properly and evenly, and you know, don't buy into any corruption that's being passed down from, even if one of your supervisors, you know, that's the thing. This town is split down the middle. So is the courts politically, but this town is split, especially its departments, its agencies, through something that I call trickle-down corruption. It's a moral dilemma, because you take an oath to protect and defend, to uphold the Constitution, but then you get put into a dilemma, whether it be something passed through the board or the mayor that you know is not right, ethically, morally, and even goes against, you know, may go against constitutional rights of citizens, but you have no choice but to do it out of fear of retaliation, of being held, you know, of it coming against you if you don't. And I'm telling you, y'all are putting yourselves in a lot bigger harm's way by, you know, if you are following unconstitutional orders that are passed down and pressured. And I know it happens every day across this country in all kinds of different agencies. That's the problem, is it's getting out of hand. And there needs to be more people like me that are willing to stand up, that don't have fear when it comes to that. Truly, my only fear is the true criminals getting away with it. Other than that, I have none. Zero.
All right, well, I got some paperwork I have to take care of. Okay? All right, Matt.
All right,
Good luck to you.
Good to see you.
Mickey.
You know how to get the application filled out.
How you doing, sir?
In trouble?
Oh yeah.
Good,
Oh yeah.
good.
Hey, I was hoping I could talk to you.
Oh man, I can't. We can't.
It's about
Your South Circuit Court.
No, I understand that. You did an interview with Oxford Eagle on May 25th of 2018.
That's when the new criminals rules of procedure changed.
Yeah, so I had some questions about that in regards to you had talked about the 8th Amendment, you talked about the bail guidelines, and so I was just, you know, if I remember correctly, you had signed off on the warrant. I know you didn't do the bond hearing.
I did not do your bond hearing.
But as far as Carol and Bill setting the bond, I know right around that time, whenever you spoke with the Oxford Eagles, she set a $20,000 bond for somebody accused of kidnapping and rape. It's $10,000 on each charge. And
Matt, you know I can't comment on stuff like that. I wish you good luck, okay?
Okay, is Carol and Bill here?
I don't know. You'll have to ask one of the clerks.
Okay.
I got to go sign this stuff back here. Good luck, okay?
So you're not willing to talk to me about it?
Judicial rules of conduct, we can't talk about things like that.
But you spoke to the Oxford Eagle.
The article itself explains about when the criminal rules change. But judicial rules of conduct, we can't talk about any cases or anything like that or anything happening. I wasn't the judge that said.
I understand. You and I mean, we don't have an active case or anything. It's just I'm a member of the press. All right. The whole reason I've been openly documenting my journey and discoveries the way I have is to actually show the world who the true criminals are. Those set on total destruction and devastation to our way of life, to our Constitution, especially the ones in positions of power and authority that rule on their feelings instead of ruling equivocally and by established law. Those susceptible to influence, and of course the immoral, and unethical influencers themselves that have used their power, money, and other means to absolutely destroy lives for their own personal gain. The ones who destroyed my life for their own personal gain. To show how low these low-life thugs hit, which is far lower than I even imagined when I tossed care and any inkling of fear to the side and said enough is enough. Hitting low is one thing, but hitting below the belt to a flagrant abuse of an unbelievably tainted legal and judicial system and steadily using that as a weapon of choice is a full-blown declaration of war on American soil, by the very definition of a domestic enemy. This is exactly what our founding fathers warned us about and had the knowledge to foresee in the future. That is why they crafted the Constitution the way they did, and that is why everything is laid out the way it is in the Declaration of Independence that preceded our Constitution. I believe the preamble says it best in saying that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I 100% declare this to be a constitutional crisis and an ethical atrocity. I have demonstrated and produced non-stop evidence supporting just that, the entire time. Beyond all doubt, this area has casted the largest cast net of lies I've ever imagined. It has fallen gullible to extremely corrupt judges, appointed and elected officials, law enforcement agencies, both state, county, and federal, the liberal news media completely ignoring all evidence and proof of wrongdoing, and so have a majority of the citizens in this area. It's like every single attorney has fallen asleep at the wheel, and everybody as a whole turned completely robotic, as if they were brainwashed, as if they were being controlled, manipulated. Meanwhile, I've stayed constant, not breaking any laws, in fact quoting the laws, which have continually been broken and obstructed in order for these people, these animals, to insinuate that somehow I am the crazy one, the wrong one, that I am the criminal. It's been non-stop, constant attacks hurled at me. I've been denied the right to a hearing, a trial. Lies with no proof, no evidence can be made up about me to where I am denied due process under color of law. My life destroyed, my family separated. And when I gather every last drop of evidence, 100% showing my innocence, and show every last piece of evidence that it was a conspired upon, cooked up plot to remove and continue removing my civil rights, I get denied any ability for vindication, denied a hearing, denied prosecution of the true criminals for which solid evidence shows beyond all reasonable doubt. More lies are then conjured up, which is then proven wrong. More obstruction, more attacks on me and my family. My economic opportunities are attacked and destroyed. The media acts like they don't see a thing despite everything even published. It couldn't be any clearer than what I've made it. And God help me if I hadn't have published everything along the way to corroborate every last thing I've said. Because for sure, I would be labeled as crazy by these people, and it might just stick. The problem for these people is them really truly trying to assert that makes them the crazy ones. Because the evidence is here, and it shows every single thing I've claimed from the beginning. I am a patriot, a Marine Corps veteran. I pledge to the defense of our nation, to our Constitution, to protect and defend both from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We are, in fact, in a time of war, a time of uncertainty, a time prophesied about in the Bible. Evil, pure evil, has plagued society and the world we live in. It's beyond me that someone has so much sway, so much influence to control the reporting of every station in the media, to influence and control the judges, attorneys, committees that hold attorneys and judges accountable, law enforcement agencies, both state and federal, with so many in every echelon of our government. You would think that I am indeed the crazy one, and that's what they want you to believe. That's what Ray and Robin Tannehill want you to believe. And they do a phenomenal job of it, let me tell you. Impressive, mind-blowing, bravo. Controlling every facet of an already corrupt government teeter-tottling on the edge of complete chaos. that in no way can and will sustain with how far off track everything has gone in society. The complete disrespect and disregard for our Constitution, our veterans, and the rights afforded to us, our unalienable rights bestowed upon us by God. A time when Democrat leaders pushed a mask-wearing mandate while allowing and supporting abortions, even late-term abortions, leading to an exponentially higher amount of deaths than what some introduced China virus could ever have done. See, it's all about control at any cost, and it couldn't be any more evident than the proof that has already been generated up to this point with my journey to vindicate myself and hit back hard in the producing of Riding with the Outlaw. This type of disgusting fraud and corruption, the stacking of the deck, the further politicization of the courts, and the further manipulation of the media will never be condoned by a free society still composed of patriots, militia, and all who pledged a lifelong oath to America to protect and defend against this very thing. Tyrants will never be allowed to stand on American soil. It's crystal clear that at the hands of a socialist mayor and her puppeteer husband, that the city of Oxford and its surrounding areas have become Constitution-disregarded zones that are not ruled upon by law, but rather ruled upon by mob and influence. It has forever destroyed the integrity of the state that I held in high regard at one time, when its citizens actually had a backbone, understood right from wrong, had a strong knowledge and showing of ethics, rejected socialism and its ways brought about through the tyrannic ones at the top of the pyramid, throwing their influence to bring about whatever change they desire without regard or care for our established laws, our supreme laws, and human decency. As I've said, animals, disgusting animals, that have taken society to a point of being at war with itself. The people that will be responsible for the largest bloodshed in the history of the world when the Second Civil War breaks out within the boundaries of this once great nation, and it's lingering on the horizon.
Yeah, but, you know, yes, and she is in direct contempt of the judge's order, and she doesn't care. The problem is, we had a baby born on Christmas Day that spent almost 2 months at Le Bonheur. You know, it put us financially between a rock and a hard place. I understand. I just thought I'd ask you. Yeah, I had to shut my company down that I started last year because of the operating expenses increasing, and it's like, you know, I have to pay money to file. You can't get out and do diddly, I know. She made a fake allegation back in November, like October or November of 2017, that I had touched my daughter. I would never in a million years.
Well, I believe you there because she's obviously lying to you about what I can corroborate with you, that we haven't told anyone that you can't see your child. That's, you know, the only way we would do that is if you've been arrested for some type of sexual offense, and you know what I'm saying? You've been in jail for something like that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So she's lying anyway.
Right.
Not that that should surprise you based on what you're telling me. Honest to goodness, I do not know, like I say, other than having to get an attorney and take her butt back to court. Okay, tell me that child's last name again, please.
It's Reardon, Reardon.
And the first name was what?
Lydia, Lydia.
Lydia. Okay, there is no type of open case. And like I say, she's going to obviously, from the sounds of things, she's going to keep lying to you and trying to pull your chain and that kind of stuff. He's definitely in contempt.
Sure. Now, is there...
And that's the only two things that I can think of, sweetie.
Is there anything that I can get, basically saying that it is closed out, and she was never told that she's to keep the child from seeing me and talking to me? Because
no, I mean,
if I can give that to Joey East.
No, but I mean, you can tell Joey East he has phone numbers to my supervisor, who is Jennifer Candler.
Okay.
I mean, we're not even hardly going into our office at all to be able to print anything, sir.
Okay.
I mean, he can call Jennifer if he wants to. They have access to our phone numbers. Trust me, we have to get them on-call schedules with, you know, all of our staff, you know, information as far as phone numbers are concerned.
Okay.
But I mean, if you've got a court order there, you can just ask him, you know, if there's somebody that will escort you to the house with that court order and let you see this child. And like I say, that may not be something that
takes a long time
That's the only other option I'm aware of.
with the backed up court schedule and everything shut down. Definitely.
And I'm sorry, I'm not going to help in that.
No, I appreciate it. You know, when our other daughter was born back in April of 2018, she did the same type of thing, and it was like a jealousy issue. Like,
I understand, sir. Well, like I said, talk to them about having that order that you have proof of visitation to take.
well,
I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, so getting on to a new topic, and that is how the laws are applied. Are they applied equally, or is it an equal distribution of how the laws are applied in the state? And one of the things that I've really noticed that's really stood out here lately has been a real disappointment to me, is just the clear two systems of laws that are being applied. Last night I went through the Mississippi Civil and Criminal codes to look at everything around my case that I have brought forward, that I have proof of, and it's amazing to me that I printed out probably 20 different laws that have been just grossly violated. My rights have been absolutely destroyed in all of this, and the fact that people can so easily get away with the things that they get away with in intentional means by way of torts, and those are never looked at. In fact, even going to the point of intentionally doing it now because of the stand I'm taking against it, and how all of this just gets overlooked. And so I printed out about 20 different sheets, 20 different laws that had been just flagrantly broken. And it amazes me at how the state looks at all of this, how these municipalities do, and it's all based on who you are. If you're an attorney, it's clear that the laws apply to you differently, and you have different kind of influence to where you can actually make the same laws that apply to everybody else not apply to you, not apply to your client. And just the extreme gross victimization that is going on, you know, how lives are steadily being destroyed. And it's like, it's no sweat off the back of these people, and it doesn't even matter how many lives get destroyed. I've always thought that Mississippi was one of the states that was going to be further behind the rest as far as corruption went, you know, intentional fraud committed in the state. And I was wrong. I was extremely wrong. This is so disappointing. It's depressing just how far off track things as a society have gotten. For me, it takes on a whole different form because of the oath that I took when I joined the Marine Corps that not everybody took. And so, of course, you know, especially when it's exacted in revenge upon me, I'm going to, of course, take the biggest sign of disrespect and assume the thought that, and the stance that this is far beyond just an attack, and it's escalated things to using the courts in a way to where it's taking an intentional tort and further blowing it out into a full-on declaration of war on the citizens by the courts, by the corrupt system, by the deep state. Mississippi, the state that I thought was going to be the furthest behind the eight ball when it came to deep state corruption, and everything that I have discovered, investigated, all signs lead to it actually being up there at the top. People just don't realize. Y'all need to open your eyes. It's beyond anything criminal. When you really take a look at the big picture, you can definitely take on a much higher appreciation for the job that President Donald Trump does, and all the enormous amounts of bullshit that he has to put up with on a daily basis, dealing with the corrupt deep state machine. It's much larger, it's much darker, it's much deeper, it's much murkier than I think what most people realize. Most people do not see the intricate details and, you know, what all is really truly happening underneath the hood. And I've tried to do my best in demonstrating that through Riding with the Outlaw. Enough people just are not paying attention to it. They're not seeing the things that you know, are truly going on, and unfortunately it's going to be too late when most people do. Right now, one of the big problems that I'm dealing with is a publisher by the name of the Oxford Eagle that put out an article
on May 30th, 2017, in that article, Major Alan Wilburn of the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, in fact, spoke libelously in what he knew was a completely false and untrue way of painting a narrative around everything that happened back during my witch hunt. Spoke in fact and not using the word allegedly as he knew he was supposed to use. He's been doing this long enough, speaking to the media long enough to know that you use the word allegedly. And not only was he completely wrong in what he did, and it was intentional to further divide my base of people that were behind me and to paint a picture that was not really truly the case to help divide the community even further. But there's no remorse. There's absolutely no remorse, and he further gone on the offensive with that, and I'm looking for a retraction article to be issued by the Oxford Eagle for them to press him for details for the proof, which he does not have. He will not produce, because there is none. If he doesn't have it, they have to put out a correction article, or they are liable under the Mississippi libel laws. So we're calling Olive Branch Municipal Court. I called about a week ago. I spoke with a guy named Dickie. Dickie. And Dickie read off what the final outcome was, what the argument was by the defense counsel and by the state. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it's not much to say here. The argument with the counsel for the city and the defense counsel on Senator. City argued the maximum jail time and maximum fine. Defendant argued minimum of this time was latest ongoing custody dispute. 20 parties now on file in Lafayette County Cancer Court. The court, after hearing the argument, sentenced is limited to 30 days in jail and fined $1209.25. Court ordered a report back date to allow appeal if desired by counsel and for final sentencing. So nothing can be done until that final court date.
Now that was on the 19th of October. That was coincidentally Phyllis's birthday. And then I called back on Monday, the 26th, a week later. She had trial on the 27th, the following day. Here's how that call went. Now tomorrow, today is the 26th, tomorrow's the 27th. The 27th is the deadline that Liz Crowder has to either get an appeal in or turn herself in to start a 30-day jail sentence. By the way, it's absolutely ridiculous that somebody could even be sentenced to 30 days in jail for falsely accusing another of rape. That is a rant I'm going to go on at another time. Right now, I'm calling Olive Branch Municipal Court. Here we go. I can't say I'm surprised by this.
Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you've reached this...
Just turn it off, because, you know, they live in the voicemail department. Never turn your phone.
Yeah, I wasn't going to leave a voicemail. I've never in my life seen a court that will not answer phone calls as much as Olive Branch Municipal Court.
I didn't know that was even possible.
I didn't either.
Because
every time I've gone down there, there's at least 3 people back in the clerk's office.
Well,
so where is everybody at, and why can't they answer the phone?
Not just that, like, it's like pretty much you always know that you can call down there, or you should be able to call your city hall or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're always going to answer.
How many other people are getting phone calls ignored by Olive Branch? It seems that...
Or they should have a put on a hold.
There's so many places that do things just sloppily when it comes to courts. Sloppy, like sloppy seconds. Ugh. Okay, so we're calling them back a second time. It's been about 5 minutes or so. You'd think that state employees, city employees, unlike clearly the judgeless Judge Bill. By the way, I need to go try to catch her. I might go try to catch her after this. Here we go.
Court, this is Shelby.
Hey Shelby, I was calling to check on, I'm actually the victim in a case that had recently settled out over the past month, actually about a month ago. This is Matt Reardon I was calling in reference to the Phyllis Crowder case. She has until tomorrow to submit an appeal or turn herself in, and I called about a week ago. Dickie told me that she had not yet filed an appeal, and I wanted to see if anything had changed, if there's an appeal on file yet.
No, she hasn't as of yet, which she can tomorrow in court, but as of right now, she hasn't that I can see.
Okay, so is there like actually a scheduled court time?
Yes, tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Tomorrow at 9, okay. So she would have to be there with her attorney, being that they haven't submitted an appeal yet?
Yes, one or the other would have to be here tomorrow at 9.
Okay. Now, is there any way, I know that I'd spoken with Ryan, of course, he's the prosecutor. She had, I've got evidence that they have used the chancery filing in Lafayette County in order to harass and delay legal proceedings. This is what they, if you look at the file, their argument was that there was a ongoing legal matter with Chancery Court in Lafayette County, and those were completely made up, perjured lies that they had done. She had another attorney file it solely for the purpose of trying to reduce the sentence on this. I've actually got proof. In fact, if you look at my counter filing against her, I've got all the proof laid out in that. So I'm trying to figure out what kind of remedies I have, being that they are completely playing the legal system in order to, and they're still keeping my daughter away from me.
Well, and unfortunately, the judge here can't handle anything like that, but, I mean, are you coming in tomorrow at 9 for court?
I mean, I can. I would like to if I would be able to address that particular matter. So if Christy McCoy is going to be there to submit an appeal, or Phyllis is going to be there, I would definitely like to raise that issue of what they did here in Lafayette County. I don't know if the judge has the ability to shoot down their appeal if they try to appeal it.
Is that what they
And if they do appeal it, hopefully the appellate court would come down more seriously on her for doing what they did. It's sickening.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is open court, so you're more than welcome to be here at 9 tomorrow and have all of the documentation that you're referring to.
Okay.
And if, opportunity presents itself, you can definitely show that to the judge.
Okay. And so the court tomorrow at 9 o'clock, that's just for, surrendering or submitting the appeal?
That is her report back date, yes, sir. So the judge will address, both of those situations tomorrow in court.
Okay, and is Ryan...
Her right then.
What's that?
He could send her straight, to jail. That would be completely up to him.
Well, I would hope that they wouldn't continue it any longer. That would, just be... Yeah, it should be final adjudged. But is Ryan... I know that the case is over as far as, it's been adjudged. I know that Ryan's familiar about, the tactics that they were trying and what I had brought him in the loop of. And I know the normal court procedure is like on an active, ongoing thing, that I have to, speak with him in court. But since this is settled out, I was hoping maybe that I could, bring him into the loop on everything as far as, what all has happened here in Lafayette County in regards to that.
Yeah, he is supposed to be here tomorrow, so you could possibly have an opportunity to speak to him as well.
Okay, I didn't know if I could speak with him today.
He's not here. He's only here on Tuesday. So where he is every other day of the week, I have no idea. I have no contact information for him other than when he's here on Tuesday.
Okay, and one other question I have for you. Can I get a copy of the final judgment, their arguments? Because, like I said, I'm in this chancery matter. I haven't seen my daughter since January. She's been, they've gone in gross contempt of the visitation order, and it's just been a vicious, just misuse, flagrant abuse of the court system. You know, the visitation order to try to manipulate a favored outcome for them. And I'm trying to get a copy of the final judgment up there.
Okay, and once we have one, we could look at getting that for you. But with it still being, ongoing and with the report back date of tomorrow, there isn't a final as of yet.
Okay. And what exactly was their argument again for the final sentence?
Oh, now that I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't have her folder. It's getting ready for court tomorrow. So I don't have any idea what's going on with this case.
I got you. Okay. I'm trying to push for reform. I definitely think that somebody that falsely accuses somebody of rape or even of any felony crime definitely should not be sentenced as a misdemeanor. I don't see that as a deterrent in any way, with the seriousness of the crime that they accuse. So.
Right. It is very serious. It really is.
It certainly is. Okay, well, I'm glad you told me there was court at 9 o'clock, because I did not know there was actually a scheduled date and time to come back.
Yes, sir. There is.
Okay. All right. And is there a time? Maybe I'll try calling back before. What time do y'all leave?
We leave at 5.
Okay, I'll call back before 5 before y'all leave, just to make sure that they hadn't submitted an appeal like last second today. That way I don't waste my time and gas driving all the way up to Olive Branch tomorrow morning.
They can have it at court.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate it.
Perfect. We'll talk to you later, okay?
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Target Clerk's office.
Hey, is this Allison?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Allison, my name is Matt Reardon. Calling in regards to the Phyllis Crowder appeal that would have probably been submitted over the last probably 2 or 3 days to you.
Okay, I don't have an appeal for Phyllis Crowder. What court was it filed in?
It was municipal court in Olive Branch. It was filed last minute. She had court on Tuesday, where she had to surrender or have an appeal in. And they had told me the morning of Tuesday, about 9 a.m., they said that the day before, on Monday, which I had called the day before, and they hadn't received an appeal yet, but they said on Tuesday that they had gotten a last minute appeal in, and they weren't sure if that was going to be accepted by the circuit court or not. So y'all don't...
Okay, so it's a municipal court appeal from Olive Branch.
Yes.
By the name of Phyllis Crowder.
Yes, ma'am.
There hasn't been anything filed in this office by that name.
Interesting. So, I'm just... Okay, so they had 30 days to appeal, before it gets time barred. And Olive Branch says that the appeal was put in, so I'm trying to... This is very odd.
I haven't received anything in this office regarding an appeal, and I'm the one that processed. It's a criminal matter.
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't received anything about an appeal, and I just processed the paperwork. So, you can check back, but I haven't received anything.
Okay, the reason I was asking, in regards to appeals, would I be allowed to give a victim impact statement? Would I be able to submit a motion to quash the stay of appeal?
You would have to contact an attorney or file anything pro se. I just process the paperwork.
Yeah, I do my own filings.
Hey, sir, there's not. I've got to catch the other line. There's not anything I can, assist you with legally, or we could be able to tell you if a case was open here, because we just process the paperwork when it's filed.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, well, I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
So fee provisions and practices, all right? says levels or limitations on fees. Fees must be reasonably calculated to reimburse the public body for and in no case to exceed the actual cost of searching, reviewing, and or duplicating, and if applicable, mailing. 2561.7. An agency may not charge more than the actual cost. That was Roberts versus Mississippi Republican Party State Executive Commissioner. This was held to apply even when a city conducted expensive aerial photography and mapping of local areas. Now, down here, it says there is no statutory provision for fee waivers. The statute says the public body may, quotations, public body may collect fees implying discretion. Now, have agencies imposed prohibitive fees to discourage requesters? Most agency regulations have adopted reasonable fee provisions. The Office of the State Auditor charges 10 cents per page per copy, $5 an hour after the first hour for record searches. By contrast, the State Department of Education charges 25 cents a page, and if the search takes more than 15 minutes, an hourly search fee. Okay? But that's still a free 15 minutes, that's still a free hour at one. And all I'm looking for is one record that they already have in their system, they already have it printed out, because it just went to court. All they got to do is just simply redact it if they want to redact it. I'd love the unredacted version. In fact, I'm about to file a lawsuit on this because I'm sick and tired of the Public Records Act getting gaffed off. Just flagrant disrespect and abuse to true victims that are out there in search of justice. Okay? All I'm trying to do is get my rights back, trying to keep from being falsely accused, trying to hold these true criminals accountable so that they stop. And all I'm getting is backlash and just a showing of pure negligence by state actors. Enough is enough. I'm going to call Olive Branch Police Department. And I'm going to call them right now. Let you hear.
Olive Branch Police, can you hold?
Sure.
Olive Branch Police.
Yes, ma'am. This is Matt Reardon. Hello.
Okay. Can
Yeah,
I
I
help
was calling. I was calling to see if you had a update on the record that I requested. It's the it's not the police report, but it's the statement given to Detective Holliday by Phyllis Crowder. I know I believe I spoke with you yesterday. You had called, and the big hang-up issue here is on the fee. I mean, for a single, like a one-page statement that
Okay.
I already paid for once.
The person that you talked to, the person that handles that is Michelle, and she's not here today. I'm not sure where she's at on that. Would you be able to call back in the morning and talk to her?
I can, but I mean, we're quickly approaching a legal matter. This is a thing that I've requested a fee waiver for in the interest of public interest. I was falsely accused of a heinous crime of rape, which y'all saw straight through and filed charges against the party. She was only given 30 days in jail, and they're appealing that, but I'm in a chancery matter with her, and per the Mississippi Public Records Act, it calls for 7 days for production, and that's if
there's a policy posted. If there's no policy that's actually posted, it's actually 24 hours. And I mean, is there a supervisor there that I can speak with then?
Not regarding a records request. The
Well,
supervisor will be in the office in the morning. If you want to speak to the supervisor.
Okay, but I've steadily kind of gotten this thing is steadily getting gaffed off. Who is the police chief over there?
Chief Gamage.
How about him? Can I speak with him?
He's not in the office right now.
What about Captain? What's her name? The driver.
Captain Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not here either.
Wow.
And none of those people, Captain Driver would not be able to get you a copy of the report. And
Captain Driver is at least she's a officer over there, or she's a.
Right.
I like to look at it as a commissioned officer. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, but I've dealt with Captain Driver. She's well aware. She's actually the one that headed up everything, and I want to make her aware because I understand about the whole calling back tomorrow. Like I told Michelle yesterday, I'm to a point where, you know, my public records requests have been gaffed off in Lafayette County. Now I'm getting the runaround over there, and I'm to the point where I'm about to have to start filing lawsuits in order to get compliance on this. I've got everything quoted out here in the Public Records Act, and I mean, surely there's got to be some higher up over there that can at least speak to me, understand my concern, because the last thing I need is to get any kind of more delaying when I was told that she was going to check into that yesterday and get back with me, which I didn't get anything.
Hold on 1 second. I'm checking to see if there's anybody here that can talk to you. Just 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Reardon.
Yes.
If I can get your phone number, Major Cox is going to look into it, and he said he will call you in just a little bit. He will call you back today.
Okay.
He's not familiar with the situation, so he's got to, since you don't want to wait till tomorrow, he's got to check into it and see what he can find out. Okay?
Yeah, I just want to speak to somebody. That's the thing, is at least I can let him know about this issue so that he can, so that I don't get the same answer again tomorrow and it get kicked
What's
down
your
the
name?
road. It's Matt
What's your
Reardon.
phone number? Yeah, I got your name, your phone number.
It's 662.
Okay.
205.
Okay.
6711.
662-205-6711.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Major Cox will be calling you back here shortly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye. I keep getting the same general runaround. Michelle has told me that the person that handles public records over there has been gone. Then you heard just then that Michelle is who handles public records. I don't know. It's what it is. It's kicking the can down to the next person. It's a whole bunch of plausible deniability that's going on, and nobody just wants to step up and handle the real problem at hand. Meanwhile, somebody that's been truly victimized by lies and false allegations continues to get more and more victimized, continues to have this child. My child is, I haven't seen my child since January 20th, while my newborn was in Le Bonheur Hospital. Had my 6-year-old Lydia for visitation, dropped her off with her mom, and then that's when all the shit happened. She called in a false claim to Child Services, tried to claim that my wife had hit her. It was another complete lie. My daughter even told Child Services. It never happened. Child Services dismissed it as a complete lie, unfounded. Meanwhile, I still haven't seen my child because then, oops, COVID hits. Courts shut down. She starts invoking Child Services' name into her lies to say that they advised not to let me see my child. Meanwhile, $600 a month in child support is paid out to her. Scandalous, scandalous, scandalous. Every single letter of the word monstrous applies when it comes to this. I've got some stories for you. These stories, it's an ongoing building block into 3 different books that I'm working on. One of them is about riding with the outlaw. My adventures in being politically charged, politically framed, having all the evidence of government involvement, deep state involvement, a bunch of corrupt attorneys, even the courts. The second one's going to be about all the shenanigans with Phyllis Liz Crowder, my ex, mother of my child. The false, just insanity that encompasses that. All the frivolous, false claims, and my stand against it. Even when it came to having to represent myself, because I couldn't find an attorney to help me. Meanwhile, she's got attorneys bending over backwards to help defend her lies. I'm pretty sure we're on a third, and that'll be the more familial aspect about how my family turned their back on me, especially at a time that I needed them the most, especially in seeing the undeniable proof, seeing me steadily drowning more and more, sinking in quicksand, and yet it's one thing not to contribute and help out. It's another thing to actually completely turn your back on somebody that is struggling with the particular things that I've run into with all the adversity. The biggest challenges in my life having to be one man going up against a ridiculously corrupt system that continues to break laws, that continues to carry their witch hunt on. I need a prayer. This is Matt Reardon. You've been riding with the outlaw. Take care, guys. Getting the same general runaround. Michelle has told me that the person that handles public records over there has been gone. Then you heard just then that Michelle is who handles public records. I don't know. It's what it is. It's kicking the can down to the next person. It's a whole bunch of plausible deniability that's going on. And nobody just wants to step up and handle the real problem at hand. Meanwhile, somebody that's been truly victimized by lies and false allegations continues to get more and more victimized, continues to have this child. My child is, I haven't seen my child since January 20th, while my newborn was in Le Bonheur Hospital. Had my 6-year-old Lydia for visitation, dropped her off with her mom, and then that's when all the shit happened. She called in a false claim to child services, tried to claim that my wife had hit her. It was another complete lie. My daughter even told child services. Never happened. Child services dismissed it as a complete lie, unfounded. Meanwhile, I still haven't seen my child because then, oops, COVID hits. Courts shut down. she starts invoking child services name into her lies to say that they advised not to let me see my child. Meanwhile, $600 a month in child support's paid out to her. Scandalous, scandalous, scandalous. Every single letter of the word monstrous applies when it comes to this. I've got some stories for you. These stories, it's an ongoing building block into 3 different books that I'm working on. One of them is about riding with the outlaw. My adventures in being politically charged, politically framed, having all the evidence of government involvement, deep state involvement, a bunch of corrupt attorneys, even the courts. The second one's going to be about all the shenanigans with Phyllis Liz Crowder, my ex, mother of my child. The false, just the insanity that encompasses that. All the frivolous, false claims, and I'd stand against it. Even when it came to having to represent myself, because I couldn't find an attorney to help me. Meanwhile, she's got attorneys bending over backwards to help defend her lies. I'm pretty sure we're on a third, and that'll be the more familial aspect about how my family turned their back on me, especially at a time that I needed them the most, especially in seeing the undeniable proof, seeing me steadily drowning more and more, sinking in quicksand, and yet it's one thing not to contribute and help out. It's another thing to actually completely turn your back on somebody that is struggling with the particular things that I've run into with all the adversity, the biggest challenges of my life, having to be one man going up against a ridiculously corrupt system that continues to break laws, that continues to carry their witch hunt on. I need a prayer. Hi, this is Matt Reardon. You've been riding with the outlaw. Take care, guys.
Just come on by and pick it up whenever you get ready to.
Okay, yeah, the issue yesterday was that she was wanting me to pay for it a second time, and
Just come on by.
okay, well, I live an hour away. Can you email it to me?
What is that email address?
It's Matt, M-A-T-T, at mattreardon.com. It's my name is my email address.
matt@mattreardon.com.
Yes, sir.
All lowercase.
Yes, sir. And also, Major Cox, did anybody check into? Well, I spoke with it was some major that called to follow up on the complaint that I had made on Captain Glass. I think it was.
Captain Glass or Captain Driver? That would have been me.
No, not Captain Driver. Captain Driver, I know her well. She was the supervisor over the investigation that led to the charges being filed on my ex. But Captain Glass, I'm still just so confused about that. I don't know what's going on really with municipal court with the appeal. First of all, I'm trying to get the laws changed as far as whenever somebody falsely accuses another of a felony crime, especially a heinous felony crime, it's not a deterrent to charge them with a misdemeanor at all. It's a slap on the wrist.
But I was, I had called down there the day before to ask some questions about if they had turned in an appeal and how to get a copy of the what was adjudged there at the trial court. I know that they're sending it on appeal to the circuit court, but it's a totally different issue. I was wanting what was adjudged on the trial court. And they told me to come up there the next morning, which was Tuesday, and I was supposed to speak with Ryan, the prosecutor. That's the one that I've dealt with in this case, and this female prosecutor came out. I didn't know exactly, I'd never seen her before. She came out like she was on a mission. I was treated like I was a criminal, even though I was a victim in this. Captain Glass came in with her, as well as the other officer, and they said, "Sit down in that chair." And that kind of blew me back a little bit, because I was thinking, okay, is this guy just joking or what? And tension, quickly escalated with the way that that I felt that I was being treated in the matter. And I told the prosecutor I didn't want to talk to her anymore, because I felt like, honestly, I felt like she was part of the problem. She clearly didn't have any sympathy for the situation, and treated me in a way that made me feel threatened. And he left with her, and he ended up coming back in when I was speaking with one of the clerks. I was actually writing down the criminal code that they have listed in there about, filing false information with the court. And he said, "What's the problem?" And I said, "There is no problem." I'm talking to the clerk, and he told me I needed to leave, and I said, "No, I drove up here an hour, on the advice I was given, and I'm here to get what I came to get." And there was no problem between me and the clerk, and he told me I had to leave right then, and if I didn't leave right then, actually he said, whenever I didn't just straight up argue, like hardcore argue with him, but at the same time, I vehemently disagreed with that, and he told me he was going to arrest me. And I started, so I walked towards the door of the courthouse. I didn't know if he was going to put me in handcuffs or what, and I told him, I said, I'm heading down to the police station next, because I need to check on a public record, and I'm going to lodge a formal complaint on this. And I did that. I met with Captain Garcia, and I believe you...
Probably Major Stewart then, because he's my counterpart over patrol.
Okay. Yeah, so Captain Glass told me if I came back to the court that I was going to be arrested. And so there were still issues that, needed my involvement up there, and I felt like that was way out of line. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm dealing with some pretty major issues with Lafayette County. From it was a witch hunt back in 2017 that I was politically charged and framed for a crime that I never committed. Ruined my life. Had all types of government involvement, so I'm already very untrusting when it comes to, since that time, it's made me very aware and untrusting. But I just, I'm sitting here in total confusion as to what happened that day, and whoever I spoke with, they were gonna check, in some stuff at the court. They were gonna, I guess, talk to the clerk and get back to me, and nobody ever called me back.
This happened last Tuesday, is that correct?
This happened Tuesday the 27th.
Okay, so last Tuesday.
Or, wait, Tuesday the 20th? Yeah. So 26th or the 27th, whatever that was. On Tuesday.
Yeah, last Tuesday,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm just making some notes here, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But he's not, I'm sorry, Major Stewart has not called you back.
No, sir, I haven't gotten a follow-up call on that.
I'm sorry?
I have not gotten a follow-up call on that yet.
Okay.
I got the initial call by some major up there, and
Well, that would have been Major. There's only two of us, myself and Major Stewart, so it would have been him.
okay.
I've not called you.
Where did you used to? I'm trying to remember who the. I believe it
I
may
used
have.
to be over CID, yes.
What's that?
I was over criminal investigations until last year.
Yeah. So yeah. Whenever I guess it was Corporal at the time, Holiday or Holloway was there, and I know I'd met with some officer. I couldn't remember if that was you or if that was somebody else or what.
Right. Well, that was. I was over CID up until last year when I took over internal affairs.
I thought your name sounded familiar.
Right.
Yeah, I would point you in the direction of a real interesting read. I was told I've contacted about everybody that I could contact on this issue with Lafayette County, and it just seems like there's just it's got deep state written all over it. I mean, I'm literally fighting a one-man battle against three agencies. Got the FBI fraudulently concealing records, refusing to produce the report from May 25th, 2017. You got the Sheriff's Department refusing to produce the information about the supposed call that came in on the 24th of May. Literally, it's a modern day David versus Goliath. You couldn't have more evidence than what I've gathered. I've literally, I mean, it should be an open and closed case of, and it involves that many people that they are literally going to, all extents to try to keep it suppressed and to fight me. I just appealed to the Supreme Court a month ago. I just got my designation of record, which is about 100 pages long of court filings, most of them filed by me because I don't have an attorney that'll represent me because it involves the mayor of Oxford and her husband, Ray Tannehill, who was just coincidentally appointed to the Mississippi Bar Tribunal by the Supreme Court. He's got involvement in every stage of this thing, and I mean, from what I've gathered, he's got attorneys in fear of representing me. Go to ridingwiththeoutlaw.com. They banished me from Oxford and Lafayette County for 5 years for the term of my probation. They made me sign a covenant to not sue Lafayette County, the Sheriff's Department, the City of Oxford, the elected officials, and the employees of the city and the county. Which, I don't know how that has anything to do with that case unless it is exactly what I've said since the beginning.
Well, as far as the other, I will speak with Major Stewart and let him know that I've spoken with you, and I will have them get this copy of this report.
Okay.
Now, is this a correct address for you? Also, 117 County Road 401, Oxford, Mississippi 38655.
Wait, say that again?
117 County Road 401.
Yeah, that works. Yes, sir.
Okay. We may have to mail it to you. I don't know if they'll be able to send it electronically due to it being a...
Well, I know that they said that they could transmit it to me via email, and I know the Public Records Act allows for it. I mean, is it...
I'm not saying you're not going to get it. We're going to get it to you one way or the other. I'm not familiar with sending it, personally familiar with sending it via email.
Yes, sir.
Some things we're not allowed to send emails, such as NCIC reports and things like that. They have to be sent as a document. So
I understand. Okay.
Email. Whichever way we can send it to you, I'll make sure it gets sent to you.
Yes, sir, because I've got an ongoing chancery case. I have not seen my daughter since January 20th, my 6-year-old. Her mother's the one that falsely accused me of rape.
and she has just nonstop lodged one after the other false allegations and filed false petitions with the court in order to keep my daughter from me, meanwhile taking my $600 a month in child support. So it's very unfair. I filed emergency petitions to get this before the court, and I go to court November 10th, in 6 days, and that's one of the reasons why I was really trying to get this so I could go through it and review it. But yeah, I wanted to preferably I would love to get it emailed to me as soon as possible.
Have you actually had the court itself regarding this particular charge of hers, or is that the one you were saying that had been transferred?
Yes, sir. That's the one that I said had been transferred, and that right there it makes no sense. They pled nolo contendo or contender, and then turned around and appealed it. So it's I don't know what's the craziest thing there. And one of the things I was trying to address with the court is her attorney, Christy McCoy. She gets state funds. She gets grant money to represent victims, and she's representing Phyllis in this. She's gotten the proof of Phyllis admitting that it was a conspired upon plot between her and her husband, making it criminal conspiracy. And, they pled nolo to it. They used a false filing in Chancery Court to try to pad it and reduce the sentence, and then turned right around and filed an appeal on that just to further drag it out and further, victimize it. It makes me feel further victimized in the whole situation, especially being that my daughter is still being held from me. So I feel like there's a misappropriation of state funds. There's she's fraudulently benefiting from, the grant money being issued to represent victims when she's representing somebody that's creating victims.
It certainly is. Certainly is something I've not come into contact before in my 20-year career. I'm sure.
I'm telling you, I don't think I could ever imagine seeing something like this in a movie. I used to read a lot of John Grisham books, and this is definitely something that is worthy of a John Grisham book. That's for sure. I'm working on 3 books, actually, but I mean, it's the level of involvement here. I mean, I'm worried for my family because of how many people are involved in this, but it's unlike anything. It's like a nightmare. I'm totally sinking in quicksand, and nobody's there to help pull me out.
Well, I'm going to get this to you today as quickly as I can.
Yes, sir.
You'll have that. And as far as the other issue that you expressed with Captain Glass, I will speak with Major Stewart and just let him know that I talked with you today and that you were looking for it. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand.
Mr. Mayor, I want to speak out on the state flag, like I said. Sure, but this is the taxpayers' house. They have a right to speak. You have absolutely no right to say that they can't speak. No right. Where does that lie with you? You're a cultural Marxist. Every single one of you sitting there are cultural Marxists if you vote to keep the flag down. That is all it is. Complete cultural Marxism. I'm leaving. On it. On it. Say what I need to say.
All right, yeah, I'm kicking off season 2 of Riding with the Outlaw. I just came across a very, very interesting article, and I tell you, this is one of the things it's got me real fired up. In fact, so fired up, I wish I was outside of Justice Court here in Oxford right now, calling for the direct removal of Judge Carolyn Bell. And it couldn't be any clearer, based on the rulings that she has made, that this is clearly somebody who is the biggest existential threat to society somebody that does not need to be on the bench. You know, in Mississippi, and I've talked about this, I talked about this early on during the first season of Riding with the Outlaw. You know, in Mississippi, a justice court judge does not need a law license, a law degree. They don't even need a college degree. And these very people are setting bonds, okay? And what you're going to see right here with this is you're going to see that she was clearly not going by the law, not going by the guidelines, rather ruling off of her own personal opinion, her own personal feelings. And that's something that never belongs on the bench. So Friday, May 25th, 2018, the Oxford Eagle published an article with the title, Judges Have Guidelines, Some Leeway in Determining Bonds. I was arrested, I was ambushed on the square in Oxford on May 26th, 2017. I was never informed what crime I was being accused of until they got me to the jail, and it was there that they informed me that I was charged with aggravated stalking. And what was alarming about that is I've never stalked anybody, but even more alarming was the claim that was made. On the affidavit it said on or before May 8th of 2017 that I had put Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with an AR-15 at their place of residence. Not only do I not know where they personally live, don't care to know. They had a bar in Oxford called Frank and Marley's, and I actually used to frequent that bar every day, every other day from around the beginning of May. May 6th, that's actually my wife's birthday, I left to go out of town to New Orleans because the statues there were coming under fire. They were looking at getting vandalized, looking at getting relocated. And so I drove down there to join a larger group of patriots. We were going to take a stand to protect history from vandals, from violence. We weren't there to cause any violence or any problems, but we were ready in the event that did break out. I ended up coming back to town, to Oxford, on the 8th of May. And it was because on May 9th, I had a Chancery Court hearing for the first of many frivolous filings by my ex, Phyllis Crowder, mother of my now 6-year-old child. It's the same one that has kept her from me for the majority of her life, unfairly. I have not seen my daughter since around January 20th, when I took her to meet up with her mom for visitation drop-off, and that was when, yet again, she made a false allegation, involved CPS in a rash attempt to try to strip my daughter out of my life. Every single time that she has made a filing or called DHS in one of these brazen attempts to try to manipulate her own outcome to keep complete custody of my daughter, meanwhile taking my money, $600 a month. So I came back May 8th to deal with the Chancery matter the next day, May 9th, and I met with my attorney. His name was Charles Yao. Sat on the square, and he entered a limited appearance, and we had prepared a counterclaim against her, and he gave it to me. He gave it to me for the purpose of putting it in the mailbox, and I decided I was going to go and serve her attorney, Mona Pittman, because it was the claims they had made were that far out there. And you know what? Both of them just really pissed me off, and I really wanted to go and serve the attorney. Probably against the Mississippi Rules of Civil Procedure, but you know, it didn't matter, because to me, the false claims that she made, those superseded anything like that. So I went on a journey. I was actually on a live stream the entire time. It was probably about an hour long. I've got that live stream still. Funny thing about it, people were trying to give me directions on where to go for Mona Pittman, and Mona never kept an accurate address. Everything online, it was inaccurate. Come to find out, after a drawn-out, long, wild goose chase, Mona Pittman, coincidentally, worked out of the same building as Ray Tannehill on North Lamar, actually in the basement level.
So to get there, you just go behind Ray's building, go down that little, it's a little drive ramp. And sure enough, right there in the back was Mona Pittman, her office. And I parked and I got out, walked into the office, and by then she had been tipped off that I was looking for her to serve her this counterclaim. And I walked into her office on the live stream. She walked out of her little cubicle area or whatever, or little corner office. And I said, "Are you Mona?" And she said, "You're not welcome here." And I gave her the papers. I said, "You've been served." And she told me that I couldn't serve her that way. And I said, "Well, you just got served on a live stream." And she waved at the camera and said, "Hey, everybody." And I turned around and I walked out. And that video, I've got it on several things with Riding with the Outlaw. Glad I got that video. Well, so, long story short, okay, there was no way I could have committed this crime because they accused me of on or before May 8th putting Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with the AR-15. I didn't purchase the gun until May 20th. I have a bill of sale to prove it. Okay? And that's right there where, it should have ended right there. But it didn't. And they held me in jail. They picked me up May 26th, so I was there May 26th. That was my mother-in-law's birthday, by the way. They picked a just nasty day to pull the shenanigans that they pulled. In fact, I was actually set to meet who would become my future mother-in-law that evening for dinner. Unfortunately, I never did make it to dinner time because it was probably 3-4 o'clock that I was ambushed on the square. Well, so I'm in jail the night of the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, and then on the 30th, I'm taken out of my cell and brought to Justice Court for a bond hearing. Now keep in mind, Judge Mickey Avent was the judge who had signed, I want to say he was the judge that signed the arrest warrant. And Mickey Avent never, I know Mickey Avent, so he clearly had to have been influenced on this, because I don't see Mickey Avent making that kind of corrupt call on his own without some type of pressure being applied. Mickey Avent signed the arrest warrant, but he wasn't the judge for the hearing. See, I was hoping, because I knew Mickey, I was hoping the same judge would be the judge for the Justice Court for the bond hearing. Well, I'm in there in Justice Court. I'm wearing an orange jumpsuit, shackled at the wrist, the waist, and the ankles. And I'm there I'm brought over there with 3 deputies. And one of them, Caleb East, steps out of the courtroom, and about 10 minutes go by. He walks back in with Judge Bell. Judge Carolyn Bell. She's a black Democrat, and what I will find out later, of course, after all this is all over and done with, is just the complete inconsistencies of her ruling and how they go based off of personal feelings and There have even been plenty of examples of her ruling based on skin color, political affiliation. Just, these types of people never need to be on the bench. I mean, that is the biggest threat that we have to our nation as far as, from a legal perspective, is who do we have on the courts? Are they making rules based on the law, based on the Constitution as they are written, as they're already on the books? Or are they making rules based on personal opinion, influence, and sway? Because no judge should ever simply just go off of their opinion. They need to rule equivocally across the board based on the law. I would say the same thing even if it was a judge that was, in favor, politically on the same side. They need to toss politics to the side. They need to judge equally across the bench. And if they don't, they need to be tossed. There's no room in our society for judges that are not going directly by the book. A position of judge needs to be held to the highest echelon and the highest level. Alright, this article by the Oxford Eagle, it was published by Alyssa Schnug. I actually have an interview with her where I sat down. It was a day or two after my arrest, May 1st, on the square in Oxford, where I was arrested for the first time. It was the first unlawful arrest by the county by Deputy Timmy Pruitt. And I will say this, by the time I get to the end of everything with Riding with the Outlaw, not only is there going to be, proof beyond all reasonable doubt, but even further, I think it's going to go to prove that these people have been complete obstructionists, that the level of crime here has risen to a level of organized crime, that there is so much involvement, so much influence, that if they truly are immune from punishment, if I'm time barred because of their obstructionist tactics, and they don't if they don't overlook the time barring because of how heinous all this is and the level of involvement, and how they have purposefully obstructed the law and obstructed my life, my ability to seek justice, then there's no justice. There's truly no justice. And I don't know how they can ever expect anybody to truly follow the law whenever these people are breaking the laws worse than anybody else. Total flagrant abuse of the badge. So, the article published by the Oxford Eagle, Judges Have Guidelines, Some Leeway in Determining Bonds. This is published by Alyssa Schnug, 9 a.m. on Friday, May 25th, 2018. And it says, a person is arrested and charged with a serious violent crime against another. Within 48 hours, the suspect must go before a judge to determine whether they will be given a bond, and if so, how much and what type. And that's the truth. They have 48 hours, 2 days, to bring the person before a judge. So, why is it that May 26th, they did this ironically. This article came out exactly 1 day prior to a year after my arrest. I'm in there the night of the 26th, the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Every bit of 96 hours. Nobody has yet to give me any type of explanation as to why they could so harshly go against established requirements right there, and how all this could not be tossed immediately anyways. Goes on to say, in Oxford and Lafayette County, that job falls to the Lafayette County Justice Court and its 3 judges.
The victim of the crime learns the suspect was given a reasonable bond and is back out on the streets, while the victim is 100% sure that the suspect is guilty by right of the U.S. Constitution. Everyone who is arrested is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Then it goes on to say, bond is not supposed to be punitive or intended for punishment, but to ensure that defendants will appear for court hearings, said Lafayette County Justice Court Judge Mickey Avent. The Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits imposing excessive bail. In 2016, the Mississippi Supreme Court put out a recommended range of bail amounts for judges to set in felony and misdemeanor cases. All crimes except capital felonies are bailable offenses in capital felony cases when the proof is evident or the presumption great, and when the accused person is previously convicted of a capital offense or an offense punishable by imprisonment for a maximum of 20 years or more, a judge can deny bond. In all other crimes, judges are highly encouraged but not mandated to follow the sentencing guidelines that include manslaughter, $10,000 to $1 million, drug distribution and trafficking, $5,000 to $1 million. All other non-capital felonies, punishable by a maximum of 20 years or more, which would a lot of times be murder or something really truly serious, minimum $20,000 to a maximum $250,000. Punishable by a maximum 10 years to 20 years, $10,000 to $100,000. Punishable by a maximum of up to 10 years, $5,000 to $50,000. And then it goes and says that misdemeanor bonds range from $50,000 to $2,000. So I found out that my charge, whenever I was arrested, brought in on the 26th, my charge was aggravated stalking, alleging on or before May 8th I put Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with an AR-15. However, I didn't purchase the gun until 12 days later, which I was trying to assert in front of the judge. At the bail hearing, she would not let me speak. Kept telling me that I had the right to remain silent. I had just gotten back into town on the 8th from New Orleans. Had no problem with the Lynches whatsoever, because they hadn't even, Ashley Lynch didn't even throw out my chicken wings until, I think it was May 19th, May 18th or May 19th. Up until then, I was frequenting their bar to drink as a customer. Now, the crime of aggravated stalking is punishable by up to a $5,000 fine and not more than 3 years incarceration. So, looking at this chart, punishable by maximum up to 10 years should have been a $5,000 to $50,000 bond. I was given a $150,000 bond. That was reported on by the Oxford Eagle when they had first published the article. You know that $150,000 that I had to have collateral for all that. This chart also says judges are also encouraged to set most bonds on the lower end of the guideline ranges. Avent says the Mississippi Supreme Court has set forth certain criteria to be applied in determining the amount of bail that should be required as a prerequisite to the defendant's release. Those criteria include how long the suspect has lived in the community, their employment status, their family ties and relationships, reputation, character and mental condition, prior criminal record, nature of the offense, the level of violence and the type of weapon used, flight risk indicators, and whether the suspect poses a safety risk to the community. Now, just some facts on everything.
Marine Corps veteran, okay, patriot. I made it very clear that in all my videos that I would never put anybody in fear of their life. I would never bring harm to anybody that, unless they had ill intent on, causing harm to myself or my family, like serious bodily harm or death, or to anybody, any innocent citizen. That's when I would engage. I never threatened anybody, never threatened physical harm on anybody, and it's not the type of person that I am. Although the county has done their best to try to bring that side of me out through destroying my life and everything they've done to me in 2017 up to now. I have lost all economic opportunity. I have lost 3 houses to eviction. And since that time, I've added 2 little girls to my family, technically 3. My wife, she had a 6-year-old with another relationship, best friends with my daughter, hadn't seen her for 9 months now. And then had a little girl that was born April 30th, 2018, and then had another one born Christmas Day of 2019. And both of those instances sparked jealousy with the ex, which is my assumption as to why each time she has refused me access to my child. But I just don't understand how, I don't understand how this thing has not gotten tossed a long time ago. I guess I can only imagine that these people are putting up the biggest fight known to man, because every single one of my constitutional rights basically have been destroyed. And not only just by accident, but by pure malice, by intentional hands. I've been accused of crimes that I did not nor could not have committed. My ex has taken and run with false accusation after false accusation, has played the court constantly since 2017. Her and her attorney had filed frivolous claims seeking a restraining order when I never was even trying to go onto her property anyways. I wanted to be left the hell alone to live my life. I just wanted to be a father to my daughter. But come to find out, they had filed all these just ridiculous police reports. Got 18 police reports filed over the last 5 years. I wouldn't have even known about any of them unless I would have done a public record request, which I did. And it was also through the public record request that I found out that Deputy Jared Bundren received a call on May 24, 2017, which is what sparked all this in the first place. This is what he used to find, I guess, enough information to go to a judge and get a warrant. But they would not elaborate on the call, and I've been asking for that call since then. And it has been fraudulent concealment. These people have not cared, have not shown the slightest bit of remorse, have not given me the opportunity to even present my evidence. They've denied me every opportunity for a evidentiary hearing. I have proven more and more fraud coming out of circuit court, fraudulently changing records. All I've tried to do this entire time is to get my life back, is to prove that I was innocent. I was never given the chance to have a fair trial. I pled out after 6 weeks, told that if I didn't take this plea, I was going to get railroaded with all these additional charges. The attorney told me that. Said that I needed to get out of town on a banishment, surrender my guns, or else they were going to throw the book at me, send me to Parchman on something else they would charge me with. And I pled out I sold my soul to the devil that day. Something that I've regretted and will have to live with for the rest of my life, unless I get this overturned. And I am unwilling to back down. I pledged a lifelong oath to our country back in 2007, 10 years prior, to protect and defend it, to uphold and defend our Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And this was just an all-out domestic assault on me, my rights, my family, and they have done everything they can in their power to keep it destroyed and to continue their lies. They have used influence to try to pressure me to back down. And I'm sorry. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You have to take a stand against the evils in society. And even if there are certain ways that I'm doing this wrong, with riding with the outlaws, I'll say this, that if I'm wrong in the approach, I'm certain of my wrongness. Always.
Well, some things, and very major things, that I strongly believe to be an enormous threat to our society. Not the fabricated threat that this county wants to conjure up to any extent. First off, why Lafayette County feels it's okay to not comply with the legal obligation to produce public records upon request, and fall back on a pathetic scapegoat excuse of it being because of riding with the outlaw and the publishing of my discoveries on my website, to also include the Oxford Outlaw Facebook page. Let me say this, it doesn't matter what I do with it. The fact is, it's a public record, and it holds high relevance to my case, which I've thoroughly stated. Not to mention the First Amendment is the cornerstone of our rights as citizens and can be attributed to the freedoms we have and enjoy today. Does Lafayette County feel that it has complete immunity protection through its sham and obnoxious coercion tactic, the covenant to not sue? Do they feel it gives them the right to not comply with a FOIA public records request, which has now been upgraded to a public records demand? And are the taxpayers of Lafayette County pleased with their leadership, that their tax dollars are going to undoubtedly be used fighting a legal battle that the county itself is deciding to open up through not complying, which undoubtedly will result in the information that was requested multiple times being court-ordered by a judge on a subpoena? What is it, or who is it, that they're trying to hide and shield from the public in this information that I'm requesting? Why is it that the FBI thinks they're high and mighty to the point of completely ignoring a FOIA request as well? For an investigative report called a 302, and won't even assign it a request number despite it being over a week past its allotted time to be produced, even with an expedite request put on it due to the statute of limitations expiring just 2.5 weeks from now. Maybe it's because something happened to my 302, which goes to proving my innocence beyond a shadow's doubt, beyond all reasonable doubt, as I've been led to believe on 2 different calls. they were unable to find it in their electronic database. The ironic thing is that they'd never lose a document such as that if it were something that would bar someone from being able to purchase a gun. When it comes to that, their database is completely intact. But it's all about a political agenda. If it points out flaws and negligence, or if it shows wrongdoing, they clearly deny and obstruct. The same two working tactics deployed by the Democrats for the better part of a century that will likely never cease to exist. Why has the U.S. Attorney's Office ignored every call and voicemail left over the last 5 to 6 weeks in regards to an absolutely sickening quid pro quo public corruption scandal, where my civil rights were absolutely slaughtered on a completely fake and bogus framed charge that the FBI just sat by doing nothing, despite holding proof of my innocence? Furthermore, why hasn't the United States Department of Justice stepped in to intervene for accountability and responsibility purposes? Especially when all this is going on and every agency tasked with preventing public corruption seems to be directly playing a part in it by turning a blind eye and trying to sweep it and even evidence under the table. It's outrageous. When I started on my discovery for this case, I felt that the system was weighted, clearly with some corruption. Over the past couple of months, I've witnessed a system that is far beyond that which I originally thought. It is clear to me now that our legal system, that I thought was just weighted, is in fact off tilt, on its side, and quickly spiraling out of control. Society as we knew it is quickly fading away, and our fundamental rights, values, and freedoms that both protected us and separated us from the rest of the world have eroded away.
Okay, this is Matt Reardon. I am live right now outside of Justice Court in Oxford, Mississippi. It's live on Election Day for the presidential election, and there have been some long-awaited questions that I've needed to ask the judgeless Carolyn Bell, and that's what I have every intention of going to get right now. Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for Carolyn Bell. Okay.
Yeah, I need to ask her some questions. She's made some very controversial rulings over the past few years. She ruined my life, and she's ruined many others' lives. She's a lawless judge. She's a puppet. She's a puppet. Yeah. I'll still wait. I came with a purpose. Then I'll at least film her refusal to not talk. Okay. Well, she is an elected official, so she'll be up here at some point. I'm sure she'll be up here at some point. Not today? Okay. I said I would stay up here if I didn't just really, really value my time. I'm doing a special interest piece on Judge Carolyn Bell. I'll just drop a copy of it by here, since she clearly won't even talk to me about her lawless decisions. In no way does she need to be a judge. Yeah, I know. She's a coward. But, she has that right. Unfortunately, she didn't afford me these rights, so I'll just drop the special interest piece off over here, DVD, and let her watch it that way. Thank you. That's fine. What an atrocity. You got a judge that clearly does not follow by the Constitution. She can remind people that they have the right to remain silent, and she has the right to remain silent. But it seems to me that that's the only constitutional right that puppet Judge Carolyn Bell knows. She's destroyed countless lives and needs to be thrown from the bench. Make America great again. Trump's pulling the plug on the Washington swamp in 2021.
Yeah, is Carolyn Bell here?
Carolyn Bell, no, she's gone.
For the day?
She's gone.
She really is a part-time judge.
Yep, they're all part-time.
She rules like a part-time judge. I have a couple of questions for her.
She's not here, and I don't know if she'll be here tomorrow. You can call and see if she's here tomorrow before you come.
I mean, she's paid by taxpayer dollars. I would hope that she's
but
here.
they're part-time, so they actually don't have to work.
Right.
As long as they work, part-time hours, then they're part-time and not full-time.
Well, she's destroyed many lives. She destroyed my life back in 2017.
I can talk to you about that. She's not here, and
Okay.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, I just need to speak with. I was hoping to speak with her and Avent, but.
Okay, this is Matt Reardon. I am live right now outside of Justice Court in Oxford, Mississippi. It's live on Election Day for the presidential election, and there have been some long-awaited questions that I've needed to ask the judgeless Carolyn Bell, and that's what I have every intention of going to get right now. Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for Carolyn Bell. Okay. Yeah, I need to ask her some questions. She's made some very controversial rulings over the past few years. She ruined my life, and she's ruined many others' lives. She's a lawless judge. She's a puppet. She's a puppet. Yeah. I'll still wait. I came with a purpose. Then I'll at least film her refusal to not talk. Okay. Okay. Well, she is an elected official, so she'll be up here at some point. I'm sure she'll be up here at some point. Not today? Okay.
All right. Bye.
I said I would stay up here if I didn't just really, really value my time. I'm doing a special interest piece on Judge Carolyn Bell. I'll just drop a copy of it by here, since she clearly won't even talk to me about her lawless decisions. No way does she need to be a judge. Yeah, I know. She's a coward. but you know, she has that right. Unfortunately, she didn't give me, she didn't afford me rights, so I'll just drop the special interest piece off over here, DVD, and let her watch it that way. Thank you. That's fine. What an atrocity. You got a judge that clearly does not follow by the Constitution. She can remind people that they have the right to remain silent, and she has the right to remain silent. But it seems to me that that's the only constitutional right that puppet Judge Carolyn Bell knows. She's destroyed countless lives and needs to be thrown from the bench. Make America great again. Trump's pulling the plug on the Washington swamp in 2021.